continue with that story about the 17 people who died in the Angelo informal settlement in Boksburg. Let's turn our attention to air quality near mining areas. What are the dangers that nearby residents face? To help us unpack this, we're joined by Rico Euripidou from the GroundWork, who has been campaigning about air quality. Rico, a little earlier on you were talking about the general concern of mining communities, but you also said that there's no such thing as nitrogen oxide. And this is what officials have told us as journalists. Of course, we're not scientists, so we were told that that's the gas that leaked yesterday. But you have a different opinion?
It's not nitrogen oxide. You said nitrate oxide. So that doesn't exist. It could be what could be referred to as nitrous oxide, which is the stuff that they use in dentists, commonly known as laughing gas, and that's also commonly used in medicine. But it's very unlikely that that would have caused this. But you know, speaking about this tragedy, it wouldn't be very respectful to kind of presuppose and speculate what the gas was until the toxicology reports come out. You know, I read in the reporting, and I watched some of the clips on eNCA, and some of the residents said that it smelled really, really bad. The gas smelled bad. You know, gases that smell bad that can have a big health impact include things like hydrogen sulfide, include things like cyanide. You know, when in artisanal small-scale gold mining and in gold mining, cyanide is commonly used and remains as a residue in some of the gold ore. So you know, if it was hydrogen cyanide, you know, that is also something that can have a big health impact very, very quickly. But it seems as if the gas came out of these canisters or some kind of canister. So you know, it's not for us, I think, to speculate until we know for sure. In the pictures that you're showing now, you can see how the gases, how the cylinders have been modified so that they can be used as mills to concentrate the ore. What they do is they put big silver bearings in there, and they turn that around, and it crushes the gold-bearing rocks into a concentrate. And sometimes they add mercury to that concentrate to amalgamate the gold. And if that mercury is burnt in a confined space so that it releases the gold, then you know, those mercury fumes can also have a very big public health impact, because mercury is a potent neurotoxin. But you know, it's interesting listening to the politicians and some of the people from the legislature. They say that, you know, zama-zamas are a scourge. We should get rid of them. There's over 6,000 abandoned mines in Gauteng alone. So, you know, to get rid of informal workers, especially in a context where we have such high unemployment, is a really difficult thing to do. And because of the nature of artisanal mining in South Africa, it is such a difficult problem to address unless you do it in a systematic, multi-stakeholder, multi-sectoral way that kind of addresses the needs of people. In the Minamata Convention on Mercury, which is a global convention for the control of mercury, there is a specific annex on artisanal small-scale gold mining. And in that annex, the global community, the countries that negotiated that convention, agreed that the best way to address artisanal small-scale gold mining and the use of mercury in it is to formalize the sector so that there is more control over the sector, so that people who engage in this activity do so in a legal way, they do so in a systematic way, they do so in a way that's safe to themselves and to their communities. So maybe it's time for us to rethink how we engage with zama-zamas in South Africa. You know, also considering that the mining sector in South Africa has shed millions of jobs over the last 20-odd years. You know, there were at least 500,000 people engaged in the gold mining sector in the early 1990s. that's dramatically reduced. So where do all of these miners go to if they don't have jobs anymore? They engage in this kind of illegal activity. So we really need to think carefully about these societal issues that drive this kind of economic behavior and the dangers that are associated with it.
All right, Rico, thank you very much for your time and for your answer there and for waiting for us in the 2 o'clock bulletin. Rico Euripidou, he's from GroundWork, speaking to us there.